What's the first thing women notice? Your face. That's why you got to take care of it. Simple things like getting a haircut, grooming your face, and brushing your teeth is important. But there's one thing guys miss and that women always notice. It's when a guy isn't taking care of his skin. That's why I'm so excited to have T. Shanley as a sponsor of today's video. T. Shanley simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Seriously, I don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: daily face wash, exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with an SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer. But and to make it dead simple for you guys, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. But because T just sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description and get 40% off your first skincare system and free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll get 20% off for life. By the way, one of their new gift options is a silicone body scrubber, which is a $20 value and a complete game changer. Once you use this, you'll never go back to a regular loofah ever again. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today.
Maintaining your beard isn't just style, it's self-respect. A well-groomed beard boosts confidence and leaves a lasting impression. Elevate your look. Embrace the importance of beard care today. It's go time. What's going on, gentlemen? What's going on? Welcome to King Talk, everyone. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Mr. Shannon Rawls, Trev Smooth, M. White, Paxton Law, Pink, there's the poet, Dara McPherson, me, myself, and Lapeef JR. Welcome to King Talk. What's going on, gentlemen? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Feeling good, feeling great.
Excellent.
Really good.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing today?
Good, man.
Doing good, man. How you doing, brother?
It's all good. It's all good.
Happy Tuesday, man. Happy Tuesday. Almost there, man. Tomorrow is hump day. Tomorrow's hump day, and that means that we midway.
It's work day for me.
It's work day for everybody.
I love it. No, I'm saying, no, Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. We do the show on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
What you're saying. Now, let's see who we got in the house, man. Christopher Matthew, what's going on? Dale Matthew, Daniel Berry, Sports Highlight, BZ, and Sanyin One, Sharon D. Berry. Welcome. Glad you guys are in attendance tonight. Let me get the housekeeping out the way. Shout out to the sponsor, T. Shanley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 40% off. That's 40% off, along with a free gift. Click that link that's in the description and get your free gift and become a member. You get 20% off for life. It works. I use it day and night. And sometimes I may use it midday, depending on how the weather is, man. But excellent skincare. They got all type of goodies for you. We also got your beard care needs as well. This is Assured Man King on top. A Lapeef and Sugar Curls collab. And link is pinned to the top of the chat. And then it's also in the description. Excellent product as well. I strongly suggest you take care of your skin and your hair. It's important for men to keep their grooming in order. Keeps the grooming in order.
Hey, hitting that link is like a deal or something on it?
We got holidays coming up, so we're gonna have some.
I was gonna say, because if it was, just send me the link that don't have a discount. I want to pay the full price for it.
Okay. All right, I like that, Mr. Darman Ferguson. Let's go click the link now then. Like before we go ahead and put the discount on there. But if you get the discount, it doesn't matter. As long as you support, I appreciate it. With that being said, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. trying something a little different today, man. Shout out to Darwin, man. Darwin he has a lot of game, has a lot of insight, man. So if you guys have never had the opportunity to speak with the brother, he's very knowledgeable in a lot of things outside of relationships. So make sure y'all tap in, man. I'd like to kind of salute all the brothers on the panel, but I just recently had a discussion with him, and he has some knowledge, y'all. He got some knowledge. He's doing this thing. BZ said Sugar Curls can't do nothing for you, Bruiser. You're already hating in the chat. I see this coming back though, man. I know you had kind of chopped it off.
Yeah, see how quick it come back. It's gonna do something. I think that's what I'm missing. I'm missing the assured man. Once I get the assured man, I think I'll be good to go.
Oh man, you might be cutting your hair every week then, man.
Yeah, once I get it going, bro, I'm gonna put a video out showcasing that joint.
I was looking like, is that real? Because it is kind of thick. What was that, last week I saw you? I saw you online? Yeah.
Yeah, I accidentally cut my mustache off.
What a little boy had bite you on your ankle.
Is it real? Wait, hold on, wait. Man, I don't play around like that. I will try the hair weave though. I just got to get I got to get Sweeney to do it though, to get the man unit. Come up here with a hot top fade on y'all.
Yeah. All right, man. We got a good show for you guys tonight. We'll be discussing This Is Why Men Fear Marriage. This is why men fear marriage. Just a quick question. Would you guys say that marriage is a biblical concept? No? You don't think
I wouldn't say so. I mean, that's what they use it for, but I mean, marriage is in more places than just the Bible. You know what I mean? So, the Quran, I'm sure, has marriage in it as well. I'm not sure. I haven't read too many other religions, but I do know marriage was usually started to really as a business deal.
Mm-hmm.
Deal land, and resources. You marry your son, married my daughter. Now our families own, all of this. Well, some kids fruit roll-ups, Marcus, man. But yeah, man, that's what I think.
Where did you hear that from? Like,
Which
how
part?
did you learn that?
Learn what? That marriages were about business.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can look in history at things like who does a king usually marry? Royalty usually would marry other royalty, right? Or keep it in their own family to keep that, not only to keep their bloodline pure, but now you're not having to split those resources, right? Now, or in arranged scenarios, arranged marriages, that's what you would be. Those are reasons why you would arrange it.
Right. I agree with you that you can look in history. What I'm saying, like, what form of history? Was it a Bible or a history book or encyclopedia? Like, what did you find the concept?
I mean, I don't even know. It's one of those things where I don't even know where I learned it. It's just some things that you just learn over time. I'm not even sure exactly where I learned it, but I've learned it in multiple ways, multiple cultures, across multiple religions. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure exactly which one came first.
So if someone was to tell you that it actually came from a biblical principle or whatever, would you retract your statement that it from the question that JR initially asked?
I won't say I'll retract it. I'll research it because I don't know if that to be true. I don't think that religion was solely based from the Bible. That would mean that Christianity made up. I'm sorry, marriage. That's what I meant. I don't think marriage solely came from the Bible.
Okay.
They say that God created the concept of it, and that the first recording of it is in the Bible, and it's all in the Quran too. So,
yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into a little bit of it, man. I've known marriage to be a biblical concept. That's where it came from for me. That's why I first heard it. I didn't learn about any other thing in the Quran or any other religion until I got older. Preferably just coming into the space. I guess it's all about your exposure and your upbringing as far as where it may have came from you. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the biblical approach because that's just what I know. Okay, so let me get into it. What is marriage? The biblical concept of marriage, right? In Ephesians chapter 5, I think verses 30 through 32. For we are members of his body. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. This is a profound mystery, but I am talking about Christ and the church. However, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. God created the institution of marriage, and this is how he defines it. A man marries a woman. So marriage is a spiritual connection between man and woman, a physical connection between man and woman, a legal connection between man and woman, a covenant connection between man and woman. Society and the Supreme Court would tell us it's okay for man to marry another man and a woman to marry another woman. But that's not what God says, right? Touch a little bit upon submission, because that's one of the big things too. In Ephesians chapter 5, starts off at verse 21. It says, submit to one another out of the reverence for Christ. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands, and you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives submit to their husbands in everything. So a wife should submit to her husband. Now, submit doesn't mean he owns her. Submit means to place yourself under the protection, the provision, place yourself under one another. Because a man position and a woman position is different. It doesn't make one better or worse. It just means they're different. For an example, if I have a left glove and a right glove, the first glove isn't better or worse. They're just different. I can't put the right glove on the left and the left on the right. Right? Men and women are different. Men are generally bigger and stronger than women. And the reason of this is because the man has to protect the woman. The man has to protect the woman. Husband and wife have different roles. Men can do things that women can't, and vice versa, right? Women can do things that men can't. Let's just say a boy grows up and becomes a man. He creates his lavish business. He's grinding, he's working, has a successful life, but no one to enjoy it with. The Bible says that it's not good for a man to be alone. Men need a companion, someone to appreciate and celebrate his accomplishments with him and who can assist him on his journey. Someone that's like him, but not him. This doesn't make a woman less. It just makes her different. When man and woman come together, they have this connection. Same thing with a woman, right? If a girl grows up and she's very successful, she's doing her thing, independent, and she has no one to celebrate it with. Physical intercourse is a picture of God's relationship with us, just like Christ with the church. It's like a woman opens up her body and receives the seed of a man, and then that produces new life. The real joy comes when a man is obsessed with pleasing the woman, and the woman is obsessed with pleasing the man. When you're obsessed with giving pleasure to others, that's when the seed is released and new life is created. The more you give to anyone or anything, the more you love that thing or person. For an example, let's say you got parents, right? Parents love their children. Well, kids can't imagine what it's like to experience a certain type of love when the parents loves them. The only time they're able to do that is if once the kids get older, then they take care of the parents. Then they can understand the type of love that's given, because now they are in reverse roles and they're taking care of the parents. I want you guys to keep these three words in your mind: creation, connection, and contribution. Creation, connection, and contribution. Let's just say a single man finds this girl, falls in love with her. He marries her. He can't wait to get home to see his wife. A woman who has a career but with no husband gets married. She can't wait to get home to see her husband, until the husband tries to fix the wife and the wife tries to fix the husband. They start trying to turn them into the thing you hope they would be eventually with your help, instead of celebrating who they are. Why does divorce happen? People get divorced because they forget to remain connected. They forget to cultivate the connection. They forget to keep contributing. because you love them as part of the contribution to each other. If I like sports and she doesn't like sports, she has to compromise a little bit because you love them as part of the contribution. So it doesn't matter if she loves it or not. She's going to still love me anyway, and vice versa. If she may have some things that she likes to do, may like to work out, and someone may not like to work out, but he will probably still do it because you love them as part of the contribution. Creation is leverage, connections is love, and contribution is legacy. Creation creates a level of difficulty in having connection. Connection often breeds conflict. Let me say that again. Connection often breeds conflict. The flaws were always there. We all have them. You just have to overlook it. And that brings me to this, right? My first question. I'm going to start off with this. In the Black community, nearly half of all marriages end in divorce, and men face significant financial, emotional, and societal pressures. Tonight, we ask, why are so many men avoiding marriage? Why are so many men avoiding marriage? I'm gonna start with you, Trev. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear fear of marriage? What's your personal experience or view?
Okay. Well, my personal experience is not to be taken as reality, right? Because the data shows differently. So even though I understand and value marriage, I do understand that it is a scary thing, particularly in today's society. And I know you mentioned the financial risk is crazy because that's your livelihood, that's your everything. And people say money isn't everything, but it damn near is because it's gonna determine, what kind of food you can eat, which will sustain your life longer. It's gonna determine how safe your neighborhood is. It's going to determine how you retire, if you're gonna be fine when you're older, if you have the resources to be able to take care of yourself during that retirement. And it's a scary thing to watch your assets go away and then you have to change your life as a human being. And the court systems is what scares the hell out of people. That's what makes men not want to get married so much. And I, for me, I feel like I was extremely fortunate to find the woman that I did. So I'm still within that marriage. And some of us on the panel also share that experience. But again, it's not everyone's reality. It's extremely difficult to find a woman who is marriageable at this point because humans in general are just now more self-centered. And one of the things you mentioned just now was people wanting to please their partner in every way. And not so many people are concerned about pleasing their partner. They're more worried about themselves. And that is the worst way to go into a relationship. We can't be worried about ourselves and think that you're going to do well in a relationship because it's a constant maintenance required. You have to check in with your partner. You have to make sure they're good. As a man, I feel it's important for me to put forth a tremendous effort to make sure that my family is good, and that absolutely includes your wife. You have to protect her. You have to provide, and most importantly to me is problem solve. That's where women find this most useful because a lot of times they can, in today's society, they can protect themselves to an extent. And the way that, at least in the West, are women are generally protected and they are absolutely providing for themselves. But that problem solving, there's certain things that a lot of women just have not caught up to yet. How many times your wife call on you in a day for certain things for you to do? Um, but I don't know all the answers of how we get back to that. I know that one thing is to consider others. That is a great start, but there's so many things that are wrong right now, and social media is not helping. We know that it isn't working, but the bigger question is how do we make it work again? But men, it's not. I feel like for men, it's not, the juice ain't worth the squeeze as it was. So marriage was a lot more rewarding, but now, women really don't value men. I think that's the major issue that we're having between this perversion of feminism. Women have lost the value in men. And if a woman doesn't value you as a man, she won't respect you. If she does not respect you, it's impossible for her to love you. And she is going to treat you the way that you do not feel like you deserve to be treated. And it's going to destroy the relationship. So until we can have women value men again, we're not going to get anywhere. But I don't see spaces outside of this where anyone is trying to help that cause. People are telling men that they are, misogynistic and they are useless and we don't need them. It's so much hatred towards men, and they're trying to emasculate us and telling us it's attaching toxic to masculinity. You're not even appreciated as a man anymore. So a lot of men coming up right now, you got the Gen Zers and stuff looking for answers. They're young, they're trying to work on themselves, but no matter how hard it is, I mean, women, no matter how hard they work, women aren't appreciating them. Women's standards have raised tremendously, but what they are willing to do has simultaneously decreased. So it's a raw deal for men at this point, and I feel like that's why so many men are shying away from marriage right now.
All right. I'm gonna go to you, Darwin. Same question. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear failed marriage? And what's your personal experience or view?
I think what comes to mind when men, whenever I hear the thing about fear in marriage, is men just don't fundamentally believe that they have control of the outcomes whenever they get married. That's whether it succeeds, whether it fails, whether they end up in a manipulative situation, a sexless situation, and so many other things that can happen. Because women have deviated. I think men have deviated so much from tradition in what marriage is supposed to be. Nobody knows how to stay down. Nobody just know how to stay down, like stay loyal, stay down and ride it out. And is for women specifically, hypergamy becomes a curse for her when she get in a relationship because she doesn't know how to turn it off. So she burns and lusts. So every time there's a challenging situation that arises in a relationship, she's always thinking about her next move or whether or not she can do better. And social media kind of amplifies that by giving them this illusion that they have all of these options. So if they aren't getting what they want or they're getting what they need, rest assured that, what I'm saying, there's a greener grass on the other side. So in my personal experience, as far as fair marriages, it's just a lot of men I don't even know if a lot of men believe that, what I'm saying, that they're capable of vetting correctly before they even step into it. And they're getting in a situation for the wrong reason. And then it dawns in on them that maybe you should have considered all of these red flags and all of this incompatibility. And then I think movies and entertainment and give us this illusion that we can change people whenever you should just deal with who you with. And then there's always this question of man about settling. Yeah, we settling. We actually mastered being able to settle. It's innate in us to be able to settle. You should. We're hypogamous, which is the opposite of hypergamy. So we usually can date down and be content with who we with as long as we respect it and appreciate it. Women, however, struggle with that. And the reason why they struggle with it is because hypergamy works in a beneficial way for women whenever they're on the rise, when they're, getting to their peak. But once they get to their peak, it becomes a curse because the level of entitlement and things and options they think that are available to them is going to continue to rise or plateau whenever it actually goes down. So they have this hypergamy whenever they're coming down off of their peak. So it works. It gives them this unrealistic expectations, or the type of guy they want or think they deserve, entitled to, doesn't really match the value that they can bring. So that's when hypergamy becomes a problem. So when you get in these relationships and these women are having this fear, this FOMO, this fear of missing out, like, damn, maybe, you know what I'm saying, I can do better. And that's whenever you find yourself in a situation, a woman who want a monkey branch. And I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard that term before. It's becoming more trendy. Women holding on to the previous guy or the next guy. And a lot of it's got to do with impressionability. A lot of women are coming out of the household and they already been imprinted before they even graduated high school. So they already have these preferences, sexual preferences, how they like it, how they want to be treated. And then you got to ask the woman, who taught you that? You said, did your father teach you? No, another man taught you that. So now you got to fit. You know what I'm saying? Instead of her being able to fit. So women are largely becoming, they just doing away with submission altogether. So it's hard to find a woman who's willing to compromise. So that's a real, a big thing. Just having a woman who's impressionable, she's willing to cooperate with you and she can compromise. But then you get in these situations where women want to be equal and they want to have the same amount of power and authority in a relationship, and they want to get you to compromise. So men are coming into the situation. They don't have mentors. They don't have a circle of man. They don't believe that. They don't believe that it's beneficial that, you know what I'm saying, you go at this as with somebody to back you, somebody to be over you, like to guide you and give you direction. They feel like, oh, I'm a man, I do it on my own. No. You know, this is a critical decision to make. It's best to have somebody like OG like Shannon to go to and be like, hey, Shannon, man, am I making the right decision, man? I really love this girl, X, Y, and Z. And Shannon to come into you like, look, bro, I love you to death, but that ain't it. You need to figure that out. Y'all need to communicate it. A lot of men are getting in marriages and they don't have the Shannon to go to. You get what I'm saying? They don't have it. They don't even invest in it. Sometimes it's gonna cost, but it's worth it. It's a decision. It's actually a life-altering decision. It can damage you financially. We've seen it. So many people have lost their livelihood behind marriage. So I think we should invest. I think men need to invest more in a decision. We're invested. We're highly invested in being productive and being able to take care of a woman, but we're not highly invested in protecting ourselves. And I think we gotta kind of lean towards that way a little bit more. I mean, I can go on and on with this, but I'm gonna give other brothers a chance to talk.
I'm gonna go to you, NY. Same question. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear their marriage, and what's your personal experience?
That I want to keep hearing Darwin, because I know you say you got a whole lot. You can keep going, brother. You can reclaim my time. You got it.
Man, I sure appreciate that. Means I got to be saying something right. Got to be saying something right. So the thing about settling, man, settling is really hard to get a woman to settle these days because of the options again. Now, when we talk about divorce, I think Trev said something about the court systems. We understand that the court system's unfair, but I don't think we know that we could actually do something about it. There are tools you can equip yourself with to go into a marriage and a situation and have have an increased chance of not being railroaded by the court system. And I hate to keep saying it because a lot of people keep discounting it, but it is a premarital agreement. And it can be written up in a way where you can be protected, and it also can be written up in a way where you can screw yourself. We've seen that happen times and time again. But there is protection out there. And then again, I think, Trev, you also missing conversations about the space that's going on. A lot of men are being told by people they really look up to and are inspired by to just continue to walk away from marriage, like just do away with it all, like just turn your back on it. And I think the scripture JR quoted was very important to try to embrace. You know, we were built, we were made to be one with a woman, to have a helpmate. You know, he said it. It's not good for men to be alone. So in an essence, you're kind of deviating from the will of God if you're not finding a wife, you're not finding a companion and building a family and extending your bloodline and allowing your seed to continue to make you, in a way, immortal. You know, you live forever. And I would also challenge the statement JR said. A lot of the stuff I agree with, but I'm kind of on the fence, and maybe y'all can help me with this ownership. I know the term ownership sound like slavery or some shit, but I would argue that in a sense, whenever you give somebody your last name, she belongs to you. You know, I think that's the whole purpose of giving someone your name back. It's a powerful gesture. Even during slavery, it was important to give the slave the last name of the master. It mean that this you belong to me. I own you. I don't think it's parallel to marriage. You know, the conditions are different, but it's the same thing though. You know, if you can get your mind to think outside of the box and not be so triggered by the word, it is a sense that the woman belongs to you. But women are getting married in a, what do they call it? They're on the fence or whatever. I don't know what the proper term for it, but they don't behave like they're married. They don't behave like they belong to you. You know what I'm saying? It's a condition behind it. I'm with you so long as I get what I want. It's all a transaction. So I'll let somebody else, go until I, get more into it.
All right. Going to you, Brother Viz. Same question that's on the table. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear fair marriage, and what's your personal experience of you?
Man, Darwin, I don't even know how to follow up behind that, bro. You hit on every aspect that can be touched on. I personally, before I was really introduced to the YouTube world, and even when I saw it, I did see it on Facebook and Instagram, the fear that was there. But before that, honestly, that wasn't my experience in person. The majority of the men that I knew or know, they were married, or they was getting married, or they were in long-term relationships where they pretty much was married. So for me, it was always something that I had a desire to do. I understand the principles behind it. The Bible tells us that a man that finds a wife finds a good thing, and he's in favor of the Lord. So for me, it was one of those deals of where I understood that me having that help me was going to help open whatever additional doors that was ordained for me to receive. But I couldn't get access to that unless I had another person with me, or my person. So that was definitely something that I always wanted to do. Now, I was in a relationship before the woman that I'm with now, where I questioned it and I put it off. And I was one of them niggas that strong a motherfucker alone type shit. I hate to admit to it. But going through the process of really trying to understand if she was the one, I went to the OGs. I went to the men that I knew was married and asked them, like, man, how did you know? How did you know? When did you know? And I would say 7 out of 10 of them answers wasn't answers that really clicked for me. It was, man, oh man, we've been together for so long. Woo, 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 why not? Oh man, I ain't going nowhere, so fuck it. Why not? We got 3 kids together. Why not? In which I get it all, but that wasn't enough for me, because I've always, I've always had the desire to be married. I always knew that I'm only going to do it one time. So this one time got to count. So I think that it's important to be aware of the diet that you take in. With social media, there's so much content on social media from any and everybody. So you're able to receive a diet of someone being bitter, hurt, you know, still going through whatever pain of trying to heal, and you're going to take on that same pain and carry that. Or you can listen to someone that preaches or speaks on how to have a healthy relationship with a person. I think that marriage, especially with me filming weddings, I film weddings. So with me being exposed to it, I've worked with couples where it was like, there is no way in hell, there's no reason why y'all should be getting married right now, because y'all can't even function at the wedding. So I know that this is going to be hell, but a lot of people do it for those reasons that I gave earlier, you know, or it's just something to do, much rather than this being something that's real. I always tell men, especially, that marriage is a business deal. You got to walk into it like a business deal. Yes, make sure you love this person. Make sure you want to spend the rest of your days with her. But you have to understand that this is a contract. This is a business deal. So it got to make sense. And if you approach it with anything less than that, and even taking advantage of the premarital bylaws that you can set with prenups and whatever the case may be, so be it. If that's what it looked like, then that's what it looked like. But you got to approach it as if it's a business deal. But I'll end now.
All right.
I was gonna add something behind real quick. I also wanted to add that you gotta recognize serpents. You know, the serpents. Like if you look at Adam and Eve, and even in a perfect setting, that actually was a marriage that failed. Well, I don't want to say it failed because I think they continued after that. But
Yeah.
there was a serpent involved that kind of destroyed the union, destroyed the setting, destroyed the position they had under God. So I think whenever you get in any relationship, you got to recognize your partner's serpents. Like what are the things that can derail the situation? You got a woman that like to go out at night and hang out with her friends and get dressed and all spiffy and all that other stuff. You got to recognize her serpents might be alcohol or other dudes that may look more charming and appear more or having more of a status. How do you remove that serpent? You gotta tell her that, look, if you want to be with me, you want to rock with me in a long-term relationship, these are the things that you're gonna have to give up. And it's hard for women to do that. And that's why it comes back to compromising and being cooperative. You got to be able to get away from these things. I'm already, a lot of men are like to think, and we like to think ahead. Like we can see a lot of this shit coming a mile away. A lot of women are thinking in the moment. They want to enjoy the moment. That's the reason why whenever they have celebrations and birthdays and stuff, they spend money, hundreds and thousands of dollars on things that only last for the weekend. Men, whenever we celebrate birthdays and critical events, we purchase things that's going to last us for years. You know what I'm saying? We look ahead and we try to get joy and from things that are lasting. So we tend to think ahead, and women think for the moment. So we see a lot of these issues these loopholes and these challenges and obstacles that can come, and we're like, hey, look, we need to go ahead and move like this. And it's also dependent upon the man's ability to be able to communicate that or articulate that. And a lot of men are failing in that. And that's one of the big reasons why I came into this space, to be able to educate them how to, actually communicate that in a way where she can understand it and see justification in it. Because a lot of women you would be surprised, a lot of women will yield and will bend and learn. I have a wife who's done it because I was able to articulate myself and how the decision intersects with the best interest of the relationship for the family. And if a man is able to do that, and this is actually a critical part of being a leader. If a man is able to do that, oftentimes a woman will yield and be like, okay, I get it. Okay, I'll do this. But a lot of us fail in that department. And we just got to recognize and hold ourselves accountable in that area.
All right. Make your brother Shannon there, man. Same question. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear failed marriage? What's your personal experience of you? You know, I got some experiences, right? Twice married, twice divorced. I was taking in what Viz was saying, taking in what Bruiser was saying. You know, Bruiser, you mentioned it's hard for women to give up their serpents. They just don't want to give it up. But you know what's even more tough than that is men establishing the rules for women to operate within those boundaries. In my personal opinion, I agree. I do believe it's hard for women to give up stuff, but I think it's even harder for men to tell them what they need to give up. It's a lot of dudes that just don't, that just won't do that, man. They appease to women, and so women, there would be more women that would do it if more men had the nuts to establish his boundaries. And then my man Viz, you was talking about your OGs. You know, first thing that came, you said 70%. You know, 7 out of 10 of those guys that you approached, was it Viz or was it Trev? It was Viz.
Yeah, that was me.
It was you, yeah. You know what I thought about, man. That first part thing came to mind. Those guys, they, you know, oh man, we just been together for so long. We just, you know, why not? A lot of men historically in modern times get married to women to appease her sensibilities, and he doesn't think about himself. Some guys do it just to have sex, and he doesn't want to have no problems. Man, we've been kicking it since college or since high school, man. I just felt like what. But if you gave him the opportunity, the choice to do it or not do it, a lot of guys wouldn't do it, or they wouldn't marry the woman that they're with. 70% of those guys, I think it's probably higher than that, man, who just jump into matrimony and is going against his better judgment or what he actually wants to do, or because he's conditioned and taught to appease the sensibilities of his woman. We're told that her happiness and giving her what she wants will give us lifelong peace. We know how that works out. And that's what a lot of guys is pushing back for now. You know, a lot of men are trained to suppress their power and not demand anything or to go for what is best for him. But JR, you know, marriage in the United States, man, has been, in my opinion, and I've been married twice, you know, it's been destroyed by a gynocratic system of family government. You know who wins in marriage a lot of times? Men who do not do what they're expected to do. Men who do what they're expected to do, be masculine, be strong, protect, provide all the stuff that they're supposed to do in a marriage, they lose. It's only the guys who follow the traditional role, who do not follow that traditional role, are the ones that win. The soft guys, if he was to provide and protect, he can lose everything. You know, one of the big fears is, oh man, I might lose everything in a divorce. So she'll take everything I worked for. She took my pension. For those that were in the days of having a pension, she took half my 401k. That's what's happening now. That's because the guy did everything that he was supposed to do and everything that he was expected to do by his woman, by society. Now, if you got a guy that's in his soft guy era, you got a guy that's chilling and relaxing, living off his woman, going 50-50, he don't really have to worry about it too much because she might be paying him. And that's why they're giving a lot of pushback. You're right, you guys. Marriage is a business deal. It is. But now it's a lopsided contract. It just is. The original purpose has been lost in modern society. And in my opinion, man, government has gotten away. You asked earlier, is marriage a biblical thing? Absolutely, man. Marriage was established before civil government. Marriage was established before church. You know, the Bible, if you read it and you understand it and you dig into it, it teaches that marriage is kind of like the pinnacle of creation. It's where everything started. You know, a lot of people like to go to Ephesians
like JR did, and read and reference what's written in Ephesians. But even before Ephesians, you got Corinthians, you got Colossians that talk about the role of a wife. Before Ephesians, before you even get to that in the New Testament. In fact, even in Matthew, I shot one of my first movies I ever shot in 2004 is when I shot this movie. It was called Matthew 26:17, Sermon on the Mount. And so I had to study that entire book of Matthew to understand what I was shooting and how to put it together. Because we built like at my barbershop, we took all my stuff out for the weekend and we built the upper room, basically the Last Supper. And I had it, but it was all black people. So this is something I did 20 years ago now. Damn, 2004. So I did that. I shot that movie 20 years ago. And in Matthew, Jesus affirms the covenant of marriage. This is before all of the other Bibles. I mean, all the other books. So it's absolutely a biblical term, but are we applying marriage the way we did before in the biblical days today? No. Now we're talking about what my man Law was talking about. Law hit it. It's business. Law, everywhere you look, the biblical side is almost removed. Nobody even talks about that in the West. We can go across the seas. We can go to other countries, and it's a different ballgame, completely different conversation. But here in America, the Bible part of the marriage thing is almost all but removed. All we talk about is it's a contract, it's business, it's love, it's because it's all these it's modernized, and it's government infused with laws and requirements, and everybody, like I tell people, I say, everybody signs a prenup. It's just that who wrote it? Did you write your own, or are you going to use the one the government giving you? Because everybody that gets married got a prenup. You just might not like the terms of the one Big Daddy government is giving you. So it's just not what it used to be. And that's unfortunate. How do we fix it? I take a very hard red pill stance on that. I think that people just need to get back into the roles of what they are naturally wanting to do, not normally what they want to do, not what they're normalized, not what they're told and indoctrinated with, but what they naturally want to do. Women naturally want to do a thing. You show a young girl a baby, she naturally, her nurturing comes out. Show a guy a problem, he naturally wants to solve it. If we were to get back into our natural state, as opposed to what we're normalized by with movies and music and billboards and YouTube and everything else, and news articles and everything that's just that we're feeding ourselves. I think somebody on here said we need to take a diet as to the shit that we're taking in. But man, it's so everything that we're taking in is filled with so many bad calories. We're getting diabetes on how we're supposed to have a good relationship. And I don't know necessarily how to fix that to get us back to what we naturally want to do now that we're so modernized. I always throw up these iPhones with all this easy technology, man. That's all I got.
All right, before I go to Hink and Law, let me AP Accountability Partner gifted Lapeef Network membership. So to you, sir. Mr. Truce, $10 says super sticker. Well, I didn't say super sticker, but it's $10 super sticker. I want to thank you for that. All right, go ahead, Hink. Same question, brother. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear fear of marriage, and what's your personal experience of you?
When I heard that word fear of marriage, I understand why people do that. And a lot of the brothers were saying a lot of good stuff. But there's one thing that's very important that we don't ever talk about. Viz kind of touched on it, but he didn't go in detail on it. Financially, you can always make up. Yeah, you might lose a lot financially. You're going to lose a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But the most important thing is the mental part of it. The mental part of going through a divorce, going through a bad marriage, going through a bad relationship. That can last longer, way longer than the amount of money you can ever try to get back or lose. The mental part of it, because it affects you and your future. We've seen men who go through one divorce and won't ever get married again, won't even think about it, will speak down upon it because they're so mentally beat down, broken, hurt, distraught. They're done. Matter of fact, they don't even want to get in a relationship with a woman, period. That's how much it affected them. So financially, it is. I can get past financially. As long as I'm mentally straight, I can get my money back. The amount of money I lost in the situation, I can get it back. And you see a lot of these men that do. A lot of men that went through a divorce, how do they financially come up? Matter of fact, they come up better after divorce. They make more money than they did when they was married. Why? Because they were mentally able to get past whatever they needed to get past. But a lot of men can't get past the mental to the point they can't go to work the next day. To the point they can't even function. They can't even operate. They can't even look at they look at a woman and see their ex-wives. That's how mentally they broken. That's how mentally a bad marriage or a divorce can kill a man or break a man down. He can't operate. He can't function. He's in his bedroom in a fetal position, but he putting on the clown face for y'all, smiling, shucking and jiving like everything's good. But deep on the inside, he's dying. He's hurting. So that mental part of it, it's a killer. Financially, you can't ever break a man because he can always get back. I can go out there and start working. Maybe I have to work a second gig, increase my first job, whatever the case may be. Maybe I have to take on some added jobs if that's what I got to do. Get a third shift job, be an overnight stocker at the Home Depot. Now, I'm saying this because I did it. These are things I live. But mentally, I had to get past whatever I need to get past. I talked about it. I had to go to therapy for 2 years, even the thought of thinking about getting married again. That's how hurt I was. But we see guys on here right now speaking. Some of these shows are built around bitter men who can't get past their exes. I'm not even just talking about marriage. We talk about relationship, period. You got a whole atmosphere built around that bullshit because mentally they can't get past the bullshit. Not because they financially can. No. Because they can't mentally get past it. Again, they look at their kids and they see that woman because a daughter look just like them. And they think ill feelings of their daughter. They treat their kids bad because they trying to get back at that woman. Or they won't even go see their kids because they feel like it's going to give a woman a hands up because she got a date with another man. So when Darwin said women settle, no, women settle. We all settle. Let's say that. We all make adjustments. You have to. Because they not always going to come out like you want them to be. You're going to have to make some adjustments with it. You have to adjust it. Like you said, if she's been in a previous relationship before, you got to make adjustments. Maybe she was imprinted by another man. But those adjustments you need to make before you say I do. Before you bless a woman with your last name, you make sure you make those proper adjustments. And if you don't, shame on you, fellas. You should have never walked down that aisle. I told the people or the witnesses that I will take this woman home. Now, you should have did that. You need to make those adjustments before you say I do, before you bless her. Because if you don't, you're gonna be suffering. You're gonna be in that mental fog, just like what I was just talking about. You're gonna be taking them L's that we're talking about. Again, financially, we can always get back. If that means we need to do something different, we're gonna financially get back. But the mental part, that can weigh heavy on us for the rest of our life. Because we can go into the next relationship carrying them bad baggages of that previous relationship and treat that woman just as bad or even worse because of our past experience. Because mentally we haven't got past what we need to get past to move on. I'll leave it there.
All right. Law, same question. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear fair marriage, and what's your personal experience of view?
Yeah, man. So for me, I know my situation is very uncommon, right? I'm in the top 5 percentile of things that happen successfully like that. Like I said, me and my wife been together since high school, right? And no, it wasn't because I couldn't get nobody else and no mess like that. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, look, I made a decision a long time ago. You know, when we had my first daughter, I know how I grew up. You know what I'm saying? I know values that my father instilled in me. And I felt it was my responsibility to make sure I raised my family the way I wanted it to be. You know what I'm saying? So my goal was always making sure that, yeah, I did it. I don't want my daughter raised wrong, right? So I need to be there, and I wanted to make sure she had a nuclear family, a real family. And so I made it my business to just do right by it. You dig what I'm saying? And then we kept having kids. And I'm like, hey, you know, because I made up in my mind a long time ago, this is my wife, even before we did it. I knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I know my situation is not like everybody else's. The reason why I see a lot of men right now are afraid of it is because literally women's expectations are going up higher than the cost of living and faster too. You know what I'm saying? It's like they want more than they even realize it costs. I had a conversation the other night with some of my family members, some ladies. I asked them, you know, what would a man need to make in order, you know, to marry you? They naming about 400,000 a year, 300,000 a year, this, that. And I'm just like, do y'all realize how ridiculous that sounds? Y'all gonna sit here still looking because these are unrealistic expectations. You don't even know these men. You don't even know where to find these men that you're saying should make this, that, and the other. Why is that such a big deal when you don't even know men making that amount? What, one or two? So, you know, that's something that I think is one of the biggest reasons why men are so really turned off from the idea of marriage right now, because it doesn't benefit them. And in order for a woman to sit here these days and say, yeah, I want to marry you, they think all you have to do is pay all their bills, and apparently you're the best man in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the one. You can pay all their bills, now you're the one. So it's just like, yeah, I see it being very difficult. And if you can't do that and buy them, pay all their bills, buy them a designer, and then also take them on trips every month, then they think somebody else will do it. And the unrealistic expectations is what I'm thinking is really destroying the values of marriage and the possibilities of more people even wanting to be married.
Hey, Law.
Yeah.
When you talked to your family the other day, the women that you were discussing, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of women don't understand the concept of money and the amounts.
Yep.
Women are like lost when it comes to what things actually cost. Like they know they got a bill, they know they got a car note, they know what they got to come up with. But in terms of like the grand cost of things, the grand amount of money of things, I find an alarming amount of women that are just lost in the sauce and is in the clouds in their head. They can't even understand it, like the price of a house or a car or what it takes. In talking to the family members that you did, are some of them kind of like that too? When they just come up with what they want, and when it adds up, they don't even realize what 400. They don't really discern the difference between 400,000 and 80,000 to them.
Exactly.
So I think they. It's not really a matter of associating the cost or the value. I think it's just they don't care. They don't care how much it costs. This is what I want.
I don't care.
This is what I want. Can you give it to me? If you can't, I'm on to the next. And
I think it's a lot of. Go ahead, my bad.
The crazy thing is, there's some guys out there that will do some of the things that Law Fact stated, and those guys and those guys and
it's Law, bro.
Law. Those
Facts
relationships.
Is my co-host.
Okay, my bad. Those relationships are plastered over social media, so where you can see it, you can witness it. You got women out here seeing it done. They don't realize the work behind that, the relationship dynamics. This man has the ability to provide that lifestyle. So they look at that. They paint what do they call it, Trev? Put that jacket on every man. They say, well, he can do it. Why can't you? So it's like, yeah, you can do it. You don't understand. And they say, well, you ain't a real man. I'm like, I'm in a position. For example, you meet a man, he's got a decent job, he's financially stable and responsible, he's got an apartment, he's got one car. And he meets a woman who wants to travel. She wants, like Law said, designer. She wants a shopping allowance. She wants to have her own vehicle, probably an X6 or X7 or whatever. You got to understand that she may have to go and work. And that's where you introduce the 50-50 setup, because and then you try to say, "Oh, this man is weak, and I shouldn't submit to him." No, women have changed. Women used to fit into your system. You had a system, you had a lifestyle. They call it lifestyle now, and a woman used to fit into it, and she wouldn't exceed what he's able his provision threshold. Now it's like, okay, you need to elevate that because these are the things I desire. When you could just come into a relationship with a man who's already able to do that. No, they want to pick the man that fits the deal aesthetically, and then they say, hey, look, you need to go ahead and go get a better job or something. Go get more certifications. Go get a higher security clearance. Because these are the things I want and need. And if you want me to love you and stay here, you got to go and do that. So it's a huge transaction. It's not really no love and genuine connection.
I think with the expectations, it's a bigger problem than that, right? So I've surveyed a lot of women, right? And when you ask them like about like how Shan was talking about like the concept of money and everything, a lot of these women really think that they're just asking for average. When they say they want you to make $100,000 a year, they really think that the average man will make $100,000 a year. They have no concept of the bell curve. They have no concept of 66% of Americans live in check to check and who's making what, and the average man making like 50 to 60,000. They don't understand that. And they're also unaware enough to think that the average man is 6 feet, and that they really feel like they're just asking for the bare minimum when they ask for these outrageous things. And the reason why they would be so, I guess, I think that something I alluded to earlier was, social media kind of really just giving them too much access to too many men. They don't have to even leave their house to have access to all these men. And we know that a lot of these men will entertain them. And it's difficult for women to discern the difference between sexual attention and somebody trying to court you for marriage. And if they don't understand that, then because the game looks the same, the dudes, some of them are brazen enough to say, yeah, I'm just trying to hit, but not all of them. A lot of them will run that game, and they'll, like Viz was talking about earlier, string them along. And with that, they thinking that they really have a man that can take them seriously. And once they have access to these types of men, they feel like that's their speed, and they don't want to lower their preferences for you. They think that you're a downgrade, and that imprint sticks sometimes, and it's tough to follow that.
I do want to go ahead and switch gears. Hit the like button, man.
Can I comment on something he said before you switch real quick?
Yeah. Especially hit the like button also.
I find it interesting that you've done the study with these women, and they've actually communicated that they are unaware what just like you and Shannon said. But how many of those women walked away from that conversation with that new understanding and retract the expectation of how much a man should earn? Or did they still continue on in life, go on different shows, go on different panels, and still quoting the same six-figure number? Because I would argue that if you tell these women, hey, look, most men don't even earn that much. And then they say, oh, wow. But then the next day or the next month, they go on the same conversation. They still want the same amount. I would argue that my point still stands. They don't give a fuck. They don't care that you can't earn it. They want it. I've seen it happen so many times, and I'm not saying y'all wrong. I'm just saying we're both right. They don't understand it, and they don't care to understand it. Even if you I can tell you right now, if you ask those women who's saying, hey, look, you got to make 6 figures. If you ask the women how much does the average man make, they probably can quote they probably can quote the number and the URL or the website it come from. They know that most men aren't earning much. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. They've been groomed and conditioned, grown up to meet Prince Charming with a palace and a chariot. The chariot is a G-Wagon or some shit, and you got a mansion. That's the translation. They don't care. That's where they grew up, and that's what they want. And they're gonna go and get it. And then we don't do any good whenever we're in these relationships and we actually want to share with the world of how we treating our queens and how they treating the kings. What do we share? We have to make sure it's the most lavish shit to share so we can get the most views, right? So what do you think you're doing when you do that? You're teaching these people that, hey, look, this is what I do on a daily basis. You kind of want to sell it off like that. Nobody is posting, oh, yeah, we just went to Applebee's and had a good time. No, nigga, shit, I ain't posting that. We going to Roof Chris Thursday. I'd rather post that. You get what I'm saying? So, like, in that sense, we kind of we not really helping each other.
Exacerbating the issue, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
For
Whenever
sure.
whenever we post a new sneakers, is the
if that's the
new
case,
$500 sneakers, the new rollie. Like,
if that's the case, that's how the men operate. You ain't no different from her. You ain't no goddamn different from her. You just as shallow and I guess what, egotistical and as she is. You're no different. So how can you expect her to be any different? And you're not willing to make that adjustment. You're not willing to make that change. You're not willing to, hey, so no, that's not how we moving. It's not how it goes. No, you want to show her that. Okay, cool. If that's what you want to show her, she's going to expect that. So she's going to expect that. You can't be mad at her when she's looking for you to provide that, because that's what you show. That's the persona you put off. So that's what she's going to expect. Stop being a goddamn trick.
well, what I was saying, Hank, is let's say is single women are looking at social media and looking at Facebook and they're looking at the moments that other couples are sharing, and they only sharing the most lavish moments and making it
The
seem like
highlight
that's
reels.
what's going on consistently. What I'm saying is these women are being conditioned and programmed to be like, okay, that's what the life is like. And if I'm not getting that, I must not be getting the life that I deserve.
So you need to leave them mentally weak women alone, because that's what they are. They are mentally weak. If that's what they think it's always about, don't deal with them heifers. Look here, I'm glad they're doing this. I'm glad they're saying this, because that allows me to pick out the ones that I like, that's within my frame, my circle. They ain't doing it by helping me. They're making it easy. Look, at social media make it easy for these young cats. I don't understand why they don't realize that. See, back in our days, we didn't have social media, so we had to do more research. We got the Cliff Notes now. We got you remember in your math book, you go in the back of the page, they always give you the answer? That's what we got with social media. Cats need to know how to use it properly. Instead, they just want to buy into it like these women do. No, that ain't what it is. Move accordingly. If they tell you what they are, then move accordingly. And if you still buy into it, knowing they like that, then you's a goddamn fool.
All right, I did want to go ahead and not switch it up, but still continuing the conversation that we were discussing tonight. I believe Hank and I think Law actually highlighted some of the key points that we're going to go over. So for this next segment, I want to just be able to have an open dialogue. I may call on the first person just to get it started, but feel free to just kind of chime in so we can keep the conversation going with a natural flow. All right, so we're going to highlight 10 of them. Well, 6. We'll highlight 6, which is financial risk, divorce rates and the fear of failure, modern gender roles, unrealistic expectations. I believe you said this one. Law, lack of emotional security and loyalty and infidelity. Loyalty and infidelity. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off with the first question that I'm going to pose for this open dialogue is, how much of a concern is financial ruin in marriage for men? I know Hank touched on it, but everybody else mentioned in here and there. But let's just answer this question. How much of a concern is financial ruin in marriage for men?
I would say that's a big one, right? But that's also depending on your scenario, right? You know what I'm saying? I feel like, again, my situation is not like, one that a lot of people will experience. For one, my wife, yeah, she didn't work for years, right? Put her through school, masters, all that. You know what I'm saying? And didn't work for years. Whereas, I took care of business, right? Did my thing and continuously do it. But now, it's not just me. We can do more. You know what I'm saying? We can do more. I ain't got to worry about everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got kids. We were able to put my daughter through college with, no loans, none of that. You dig what I'm saying? We were able to do things do things how we wanted to, and we still growing. At this point, we have 4 kids. I'm not worried about if, God forbid, something happened with this, she gonna take half. Hell, we built this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we built it. I'm not worried. But again, my scenario is different. Now, say God, now I come in already and I meet a woman. That's completely different. She didn't build that with you. What they say, she wasn't in the gym shooting with you. So it's a different ball game. You know what I'm saying? It's very different. So I can see why that makes a lot of men afraid of that commitment, and why it's a big red flag, or just a big reason of apprehension, because it can deter you from all you've worked for. They can take half. Out of the top 10 billionaires, I think the 3 or 4 that were women, all but one, I think, got their riches by divorce. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, that's something that you do think about. Is everybody
And the
going to
other
become
one,
a
the other one
billionaire?
was an
No.
inheritance.
Inheritance. None of them were self-made. None of them worked for it. None of that. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's, of course, financial ruin is a big reason, especially if you're coming in with something. If y'all both come in with nothing and build something, what we talking about? You know what I'm saying? But if you coming in with everything and she coming in because you pulled her out of McDonald's drive-through, yeah.
So who's ruining? Who's causing the ruin? Her or you?
I mean, well, that goes back to the chicken, which came first, the chicken or the egg. You can say, yeah, oh, she decided to leave me and take half, but then they're gonna say, well, you decided to marry her. You know what I'm saying? Or you didn't protect yourself. So it's like, which one comes first?
Well, I would say if the money came first, and also the intelligence, and I would argue that if a man is able to do so well on his own, in a way where he's able to have so much wealth, that also should come with an amount of mental awareness of getting yourself in a situation and losing it all. So I would think, like, say, like, if Viz came up off of 500,000 in the company he made past year, before he get, I think what he would think when he get in a relationship, he would be thinking about his money and how that can be impacted by the decision to get in a marriage. So how should I move? Should I take the girl, a girl that's working at McDonald's that's only seeing about $18 an hour, and she's got an $18,000 a month allowance? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you setting her up and you setting yourself up if you don't move accordingly. Like, you don't move in a way where you protect yourself going into that.
The thing is, though, Darwin, it's the laws that's fucked up. Because with using your example, we could go back to the show we talked about Tyrese.
Yep, I'm gonna say that.
You got gentlemen, you got some people who think that they're protecting themselves until the law. It could be one person that could check off one box on one form, and suddenly everything goes to shit. You did everything that you were supposed to do. You thought it was ironclad, and because of one person was just like the homegirl of the judge and said, "Oh, this is a big whale. I'm gonna check off. I'm gonna darken in this box on the Scantron form instead of this box," and then everything falls apart. And so that's what I meant by the gynocratic system of American family marriage has ruined it. When you say what comes first, the chicken or the egg, who's at fault, women or men? It's really both, because you got a system where men are doing the bidding of women for the benefit of women enforced by men. And if you got guys who are weak enough to allow that to happen and put into law 40 years ago, something that was relevant 40 years ago, but they didn't revise the law as times changed and nobody's really pushing to do it, who do you blame? Well, the women are taking advantage of it. Yes, but the men are allowing it to be taken advantage of. So that's what I mean by it's a big circle jerk. Everybody's jacking everybody off, and who breaks it? Does the guy stop the women from jacking off? Do the women stop the guy from jacking off? Well, right now the benefit is for her. The benefit isn't for him. But then can you change that? How? When everybody can vote, and women are the ones that actually do vote. So it's just like,
yeah, but I think we can change it. I think we could still, I think with the law, how it is right now, you could change that type of behavior or change or prevent exploitation. Depends on how
Well,
you draft.
it is. It's
Yep.
slowly moving, but it depends. Like Florida, as an example, had just got rid of no-fault divorce, the only state in the union. They just did that, 9 months ago? And it's not even fully implemented. But how did we even get to no-fault divorce to begin with? How is it that you can divorce a motherfucker and nobody's wrong? The courts don't care. But then you get to the money side. Well, the courts is incentivized by making sure that you guys stay married, because I mean, it really is all about money. But
It is.
When you say that we can change it, we can, but who's gonna do it? Like at the Black Manosphere Conclave that we just did in Houston, we got Cardinal Smith who came to my event 2 years in a row, and he talked about the changes that he made in Georgia. But it didn't take a whole lot of people. He said it only took to like 20 people in some legislatures to get the stuff going to be beneficial to men in Georgia. But that was just for paternity. We're talking about marriage. Who's gonna have the nuts big enough to go in and change marriage laws to even the playing field?
Right. I can't answer that, but what I can do for the state that we're in now is we can figure out how to draft premarital agreements in a way to where it's pretty much ironclad for protection purposes. And then we can educate men on how to be aware that pulling the trigger to get married to a woman that's coming out of McDonald's and you making all this money, what outcomes, understand the outcomes you want and understand the risk that you're taking. Are you okay with the outcomes? Are you okay with the fact that if this woman files for divorce and y'all have intermingled y'all expenses and money into one account, a joint account, that everything in that joint account becomes split down the middle?
Yeah, men are in love though, man, and women are in business. That's from Coach Greg Adams. So if you got guys that got this money and whatnot, but he's love bombed and he's in love and she's selling it to him like it's us and it's gonna be me and you against the world and I love you so much, and that song, that sound bite right there is playing in his head every time he sees her, and she's giving him good head and cooking him cheesy eggs, and he doesn't, the rationale flies away from guys. It just flies away, man. Common sense
is a matter of pleasure. They put in the pleasure and peace over protection, and that's how I met a man. And the goal is, for me specifically, is to come into spaces like this and kind of change that mentality.
Yeah, but they don't. Then they don't want these spaces. Leave it up to them. They leave it up to them. They'll shut down They'll shut down King Talk. They don't want us. They don't want 4 black men talking about this right now. Are you kidding me? They ain't never had this before us.
I swear, Shannon, every time I pick up my microphone and talk on it, I feel like I'm competing against the devil to win over my brothers and sisters. I think we're fighting against demons. And I think everything that we talked about today was the influence of a demonic spirit. It all started from the beginning and it can continue to evolve. That's why marriage is, like somebody said, the Bible or the whole concept of God has been stripped out of marriage, out of the conversation. I don't think that's by chance. I think that's by intention. And you got to recognize whenever you talk about anything that was naturally built, that the way God intended, you got to understand you're going to be fighting against demons. And those demons comes in the form of, I'm not going to even say that because then people will be trying to fucking cancel me. So I'll just hold my personal opinions on that. In consultations and shit like that, if they want my personal opinion.
So I think part of the problem, go ahead, John.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say part of the problem is some of the shit we talk about. Like, there's no way I would tell my son to go get a woman out of McDonald's, and he's a well-off guy. Why would I do that? Financially, she has no wherewithal, is the reason why she's probably still working at goddamn McDonald's. Unless she's the owner of that franchise, why would I teach my son that? Why would I teach my nephew? I wouldn't. But you hear guys talk about that. Soon somebody hears it, they say, hey man, financially that makes no sense. Why are you gonna get a broke ass heifer and bring her into your fold and think she's going to provide anything for you. She's not. She has no work.
What if she's
struggling in an efficiency apartment? She has no financial work. I'm not trying to waste my time to teach a heifer that. She should have learned that when she was in high school.
What if she's a college student, Hank?
If she a college student, then she has some financial.
I said, what if she's a college student?
Hear me out.
Look,
I heard what you said. What if she a college student? Then I can understand that. If she a college student, she's working towards something. But you got guys who ain't talking about women and trying to go to college. They just there at McDonald's. She's 25, still working at goddamn McDonald's. She don't own shit there. She don't own the franchise. She don't own the store. She don't own anything. She just glad to pay her efficiency apartment rent and getting tricked off by some dudes named Darwin who's going to take care of her ass. That's what she happy about. Not me. Hell no. Heifer, you got to have something about you. Got to have some benefits. And if you ain't got no benefit, why am I dealing with you? You bring nothing to my table. I don't want to deal with a broke ass heifer. If she's mentally broke, I don't want her. If she's financially broke, I don't want her. Why would I invest in them troubles? Men, stop doing that bullshit. Now, I know she look good because her titties are perked up. She got a nice ass, but it's more than what you're looking for. It's got to be more than, look, fellas, we need to start getting women what we need and not what we want all the goddamn time. I know we want the best of the best, but that's not what we really need because she's not going to bring peace to your life. She's not going to bring the benefits that you really need. Get a woman that you need. The type of woman you need, that's the one you need to be investing into. Not always the woman you want. Because the woman you want going to cause you trouble and y'all going to be getting them broke-ass Burger King, McDonald's, or KFC, Popeye chicken ladies.
All right, y'all, we got to switch to the next question. We'll put the 10-minute timer because we're only spending 10 minutes so we can get through these questions. So it's an open dialogue. I'm not calling anybody individual. So if you got something to say, make sure you guys get it in there within that 10 minutes. Does the high divorce rate make men think marriage is a losing game? Does the high divorce rate make men think marriage is a losing game?
And I think that goes back to the impact of social media. I know that a lot of men on the panel are big into the numbers and statistics, but me personally, I'll never live life following statistics or believing statistics, because statistically, I fit every statistic to be a failure. So if I'm paying attention to those statistics of it being a high divorce rate, and I'm walking into a relationship with that, or even potentially a marriage, then you damn near gonna get divorced. So I think that if we bring back the beauty, the essence on both sides for men and women, that they can work, but it's work, then I think that would shift. But again, we have so many heartbroken and bitter men that are on platforms and they're giving out advice. And of course, it comes with risk, but with no risk, there's no reward. You know, what if it works? What if you are in that percentage that it lasts? So that's my perception on it.
I agree. So look, people, you know what I'm saying, they want to run to the stats all the time, and is that going to discourage you? I know a lot of cats that will gamble their life away on way less odds. You know what I mean? If you knew you had a 50-50 chance of either winning or losing, you'd gamble a whole lot more. You know what I mean? You literally. So sitting there saying, oh, 50% of them end in divorce. Well, 50% of them don't end. So what we talking about? Which way are you going to get? Well, right, black or red, and even that's skewed a little bit. You know, you got the 00 in there, and you got some other. Don't get me started, man. You know, that's my game. but I'm saying, you have a much better chance, especially if you do the best you can vetting. You up your percentages, right? When you don't ignore the red flags and you try and figure it out. and find one that might be solid, you might have a 70% chance of it being successful. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of just doing the work, because it is work. Nothing gonna be easy. If you think you're gonna get married to be happy all the time and every day, then you're doing the wrong thing. And you need to find somebody that understands that as well, or teach them as y'all go along.
On a scale of 1
Law,
to 10,
check
how
this
many?
out though.
Oh, go ahead,
Real-
man. You have to talk. You go ahead.
All right, okay. So,
Right.
Law, the only thing with that, right? Like a lot of dudes,
Mhm.
we understand that men have a high risk tolerance, but you see most dudes that'll sit there and trick off his entire check on a female and not be worried about it, right? And people will go gamble they check away. But it's extremely rare where someone would trick off or gamble their entire life savings. And that's the difference when you are dealing with a divorce. You are gambling your entire future, right? That's major for men. And it's a raw deal because they're telling us that we are responsible. I know Shan mentioned Florida. They also eliminated permanent alimony in Florida. Shout to Florida, Ron DeSantis, for really like doing what he need to be doing for the dudes out here. But that's a big difference when you're talking about your entire life, your whole life savings. That's a scary thought, and it's a raw deal because women aren't required to provide any services in return. Any of her duties or responsibilities are relinquished, whereas you are possibly eternally responsible. So that goes back to that fear. That's an extremely scary thing. So we have to be very careful when we talk about the men, because it's not like, okay, well, you scared or whatever. I dig it though, man. Like, and again, even me being what would be recognized as a success so far, right? I do understand the gripes of men who are not in this position, and we also understand that women are able to psychologically show you their representative for 2 years. So you can do all the vetting you want. Sure, you can mitigate the risk, but you can't eliminate them. So we have to understand that women will do everything right. And then sometimes women just changed. There's postpartum depression. There is um, menopause, right? And then now all of a sudden your sex is gone. That's a scary thing. And now you are required to remain faithful to a person who has you in a sexless marriage. And this is a lot of men's reality, right? They don't do the things. They don't value the men anymore, and they treat them poorly after a while. This can happen to any one of us, and you're expected to stay within that marriage. And now they don't respect you. They don't listen to you anymore. It's so many different things that can go wrong. So we just have to understand why men have now become apprehensive. There's so many different reasons, and it's not the same pool, right? Like us, I can definitely say I've seen the difference between women that are in our age bracket. Even yours is a little lower than mine, but there's been a fall off when you're talking about Gen Z women right now and the options that they have and what they expect out of men and how skewed their reality is right now compared to what we had as a reality. Just imagine your children or Generation Alpha, what that's going to look like. It's getting progressively worse. So something has to change. It's going to have to be the laws, in my opinion, or it's just not going to be enticing for me.
Well, here's the thing. How many?
Facts.
How
I
many?
agree.
How many
I
of
agree with
y'all? How many of y'all
that.
willing to give up half if y'all get a divorce? Like, okay, so let me rephrase that. If y'all were getting divorced by a woman and you knew that you was entitled to half, and you didn't come in, she was the breadwinner. She had all the money. How many men on this panel will walk away from the marriage and say, you know what, I wasn't in what you were shooting in the gym. I don't want half.
I wouldn't need it.
Depends on the
I
reason
wouldn't. I
for
wouldn't ask for
divorce.
it.
I'm gonna keep it
That's a
real.
good point, though. Yeah, if she cheated, yeah, she gonna
You know what I'm
pay.
saying? If
Yeah,
she do you super wrong, bro. Nah,
yeah.
shorty. Yeah, I'm coming for it. Yeah, because that's what they look. And
So
then I do want
she
to
had to
kind of
do
go with.
something wrong for you to come for it. And you would
But
know
for
that
me, a
a lot
divorce
of
is something bad, bro. What
no,
happened?
what
Why
I'm
are we
saying,
divorcing?
what I'm trying
No,
to.
but a lot of divorces, the guys didn't do nothing bad. She just woke up one day and didn't want to be there anymore, and she'll still take half, even though he didn't do anything wrong, and the law will allow her to do it. That's the whole no fault thing. The thing about your question, Darwin, is that because of men's ego and because of our position in society on how we're supposed to be the leaders and we're supposed to be selfless, a lot of guys will just be like, you know what, that's yours. You work for that. You know, I'm good. I'm okay. I'll walk away. This is the reason why 97 out of 100 men pay alimony and only 3 women do. Even though if statistically more men should be getting alimony. Men just be like, nah, I just want to get the fuck out. I don't, no contest. I ain't arguing. We ain't going back and forth. I want to get the fuck out of here. Because a lot of guys know, as Hink said earlier, I lost it all in that shit, but I'll be up again. Give me a couple years, get my mind right, get back in the streets. I'll be up again. Whereas women, on the other hand, they feel like their life is over and they can't get it. So a lot of guys, man, that when you say how many of us will walk away and just be like, you know what? You know, you was the breadwinner, you had it, you good. There's a lot of guys that feel that way, man. There's a lot of dudes that feel that way. And to be honest with you, I think I'm one of them. I think I would just be like, you know what? You can have like when I got divorced, I was like, take what you want. Get whatever you want. It's yours. There's no pushback on nothing because it's just easier for me to just get the shit again. Whereas for women, it's not as easy to get it.
But that's interesting because I thought on the, I mean, if we talking about ourselves and our character on the record is at stake. But if you were able to do a poll or to get statistics on it, given the men in society, you think that most men would just say, fuck it, I'll just walk away from it, even though I'm entitled to have? You think that most men would just?
Man, what was that? The playback?
That was good audio too.
I do though. To answer your question,
Right?
other brothers make a speaker, but I feel that most men would do that because of our, we're egotistical creatures.
Yeah.
We're like, man, fuck that shit. We got, our pride will be like, man, fuck that bitch and her money. That's how a lot of guys feel, I think.
Something is making me think of, because this soft guy era is on the rise, that more of this new generation is going to be like, fuck that.
Yeah, and again, I'm 52. So
we switching over now.
There's that.
Switching over. Remember, you guys, not calling anybody, so it's open dialogue.
You heard that, Kenny? I mean, yeah.
Do modern gender.
You don't want to hear my mouth. You had a guy that started that found his woman online and said the stats don't work. But then he bashed other guys, said there's a whole bunch of miserable men out here. I made a good decision. You understand?
Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Do modern gender dynamics make traditional marriage unattractive for men? Do modern gender dynamics make traditional marriage unattractive for men?
Man, what?
Boy, the Gooch is here.
God, man.
The Gooch is here.
Geechee ass boy.
What?
God, what you say, Pit Dog will holler. So now we're in 2024. If the information isn't presented itself, you're living under a rock. You got to look out for self first. Everything is slanted and doesn't favor you within this common society. So those could be poetic. This ain't no more Love Jones out here. You go ahead and get your throat cut by feeling that you could be Ronnie Romance. I don't know when's the last time I seen a grown couple slow dance. I don't know when's the last time I seen a video when roses was falling from the air. That romantic stuff is dead. You better protect your end. All that hoopla, isms and schisms. Ain't no bitter men out here. It's men that woke up. Rest in peace to KS. A lot of men didn't know what they were doing. They wasn't even on their square. Now you have present day. You went over the stats. It's like certain people don't like picking up books unless it said Dr. Seuss on it. You understand? Why would it work in your best interest? You name a woman that work harder than any brother up here. And she's supposed to get what? And it's supposed to be okay in common data to fall forward into something like that. That's a bad deal. You don't have to be bitter to say the truth. I digress.
that goes back to my original statement of being aware of the diet that you intake. If you don't know how to romanticize your woman, then that's a you problem. If you're not coming home to see the roses falling out the sky when you walk through that door, then that's a you problem. That's something that you can't deliver in order to receive. That's not every man's perspective or what they come home to. I'm sure Law, Marcus, Hank.
Look what he doing. He can't stand by himself. Hey.
I'm standing by myself. I'm pointing out a fact because these are married men.
Put your hair in a scrunchie when you say it.
So if they're with their wife, I'm sure when they come home, their wife shows them that they're appreciated. So to have that perspective, I feel for you, Brother Kenny. I hope that you found your person.
Oh, look at what he's trying to do.
It sound like you need to heal, brother.
What page did you find? What page did you find yours on? Christian Mingle, Farm Fun, what Ashley Madison? Where'd you find yours? You said you found her online, right? No disrespect to her, but you said the numbers ain't live. So how many numbers did you go
Madison, man, that's a treatment
wait, before you press that button and say this is the one online.
Damn.
All that stuff you said was bullshit because you didn't find her outside. You didn't find her in a park reading As a Man Thinking. You didn't go to a club or a church. You went online where over 60% of men find their stuff. All that poetic shit is just talk. Take poet from your name. You just this.
Yeah, so I've never had an issue with going outside and
then why'd you find it online rather than outside? Something don't make sense. 2 + 2 ain't 5. Educate me.
So you're basically saying that I'm supposed to only find somebody in one place.
No.
That's okay. So what you're saying doesn't make sense.
No.
Just because
the opening monologue said everything else but the truth. The hypocrisy in it, you gave every other dynamic, but accepting I found mines online, so I shouldn't be talking that other stuff because it shows that I lack the intestinal fortitude to go out there and find my forever.
All right, so look, I want to jump in before y'all get going too hard, and this time is over to the next one.
You just sound emotional as hell right now,
look,
bro.
Right, check it out. Hey, Biz, look.
I don't know where it is that you can assume, or how it is that you can assume.
I lied on you.
That
you said it out your own mouth.
Go outside. So keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Even though I did meet her on Facebook, I still had to go out and interact with her just like any other person would. So it regardless if I met her on Facebook, if I met her at church or at the laundromat, I'm still the same fucking person that I am. And that's who she fell in love with. And I can make and I deliver that everywhere I go. I've never had an issue with getting women. That's never been an issue. So just because I found her on Facebook is irrelevant to anything that I said. Because all that I said was that the numbers to me have never mattered. I don't give a fuck what the numbers say. I'm gonna go and do whatever it is that I want to do, and I'm gonna find that person or do that thing or whatever the case may be. So it's your issue isn't my issue, and that goes across the board.
So what issue do you believe I have?
Are you married? Are you engaged?
Something we already don't know. So
are you engaged? Are you in a serious committed relationship?
Nah.
Okay then. So what are we talking about?
So answering all your questions, what makes me hurt?
Your dialogue.
Maybe that's the lifestyle that I've become accustomed to because I'm not living the paradigm that you find necessary to be significant or the title that you choose to hold, that means I am less of a man?
You are what you are.
No.
I don't.
You gave me a title. You said, I don't know. You do what women do. I don't know who hurt you. Go get the work
That's
done.
what it sounds like. I'm just keeping it a buck with you.
No,
It's
I'm
team
holding
talk
you
right now,
consistent
bro.
to the things you said. You had a
It's
whole
team talk.
monologue and you found your woman online. That means
What
that
does that
tells
mean?
me that game ain't all what you say it is.
If you say
Look, that's
so,
something.
bro.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Can I jump in
know.
here? Can I jump in?
Help him,
Can I
dog.
jump in
Come
real
give me
quick?
some.
Oh,
Come get
what
me.
Well,
I
I mean,
need help, bro.
look.
You ain't
Here's my
saying
thing,
nothing.
man.
You
I don't
sound
want to.
like a fool, bro. Come on, man.
Come on, y'all. Look. Check it out, right? So shameless plug while I'm at it. But here's the thing, Joe. We just had a great event this past weekend, and we had a bunch of women in there that we all preferably met online, right? You could have easily been in that scenario and introduced yourself to these women that we know and met from online. So saying that he found her online ain't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe he had to go a little further than his neighborhood or the bar down the street or what have you. My thing is, it's more important to be able to get her in general anyway. You got to meet her at some point. You got to meet her in person. You can only online only goes so far, bro.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? So
that's
I'd rather
valid.
hold on. I'd rather you meet your wife some kind of way than not and be sitting there, you know what I'm saying, really targeting somebody for something that, you haven't gotten.
Okay, so
That's
here's
all
the
I'm
thing.
saying. Like you
Okay,
throwing
all
salt
you
on something
saying
that's
is you
like
came to his defense. If you listen to his opening rather than
I
being in
disagreed
your,
with you is what I'm
okay,
saying. I just disagree
just
with you. That's all.
take what I'm saying, not me. Just take what he said. His opening monologue didn't fit what he had to do to find his forever. And if you rewind this, Law, you can get back at me after you rewind it. You can't lead with that if that's not what got you to where you are right now.
So what is it? What
So
is
if
it
you
exactly
feel that I'm taking jabs at him, yeah, I am taking jabs at him.
So
but I'm also putting the truth with it.
Kenny, what exactly is it that I said that doesn't align with whatever? I'm not even sure what.
Okay, so I'll repeat it again in layman's terms, which I swear I did. The whole opening diatribe was you mentioning every other venue as for going out there and getting a woman and being free from this thing and the numbers and the stats. You have to go through the numbers to find her on Facebook.
Why do you think that
Wait. So as soon as you came on Facebook, a star flew across the sky just one night and you just saw her face. Or did you, where on Facebook did you find her since you want to do it?
Why do you think that I had to find her on Facebook?
No, I'm not moving the goalposts.
Well, no, we got one more minute on this. We got to get back to women. Hey, we got one more minute on this. We got to get back to the show, y'all.
You would never tell the truth. You went through a whole bunch and then you found one.
The truth about what, bro?
So how'd you find her? Was it just one swipe on Facebook, or you was running through women and you found one and started communicating with her and it became something?
She was in my friends list for a while, and we continue to interact. I enjoyed what it was that she shared, so I eventually slid in the DMs.
Okay, so all being fair to you, you had to go through the numbers, so you can't say F the stats. You use that to find your forever. So why would you be a hypocrite and say F the stats, F the numbers?
Because that's not everybody's situation.
But you went through the numbers.
All right,
stop using law.
Let me finish saying this. Law stated that he's been with his old lady since high school. So I say fuck the stats because that's my perception. That's how I address life. If you do it differently, bro, then that's on you. I'm not saying that this is something that every man should do. This is the decision that I made. and
I'm
this is
not
how I live
knocking
my
you
life.
finding your woman
So if
online.
I don't understand why it's
Okay,
triggering
so
you, so the
because
only
you
way
All right,
that
Paul, we gotta
trigger you-
get back on topic, y'all. We gotta get back on topic. I don't think nobody really answered the question. Do modern gender dynamics make traditional marriage unattractive for men?
I would say it all depends on what the expectations the woman have. Because a lot of women today, when we say modern women, we're talking about women who are, they go out and work. They don't really, they're not really yielding to the traditional way of doing things, like being a homemaker or taking care of the house while the man go out and work. And a lot of women who's out here going out to work to pay significant bills, they want to have equal amount of authority and say in a relationship. They want to have equal leadership. And a lot of them don't want to be fully submissive to a man if they got to go out and if they got to share the same responsibility. So it becomes unattractive in that sense when we talk about the dynamics. But there's many other things. It's just subjective to each individual. You got a lot of men that are arcade. They operate on the feminine side of their brain on mostly. So they're okay with sharing the masculine role or the leadership role with these women. And it all depends on what you get. But I would say it makes most men unattractive because most men want a traditional situation because I think it's more appealing to know that you're the leader and know that you're the head and your decisions and everything that you produce in a relationship is strongly related to y'all's success and the direction of where y'all going.
Darwin, but look at the question though. Look how it's worded. It's asking if it making traditional marriage unattractive to men.
Yes.
So what part are you calling unattractive?
Oh, okay. So
see, when I read it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. That's a tricky kind of question. So see how it's written is
one
modern
of them AI ChatGPT questions. To fuck your head. You forgot. JR forgot to put it on a 6th grade reading level.
Yeah, so it's basically, I think what's happened for the newest generation, the answer is yes, because they want the soft thing because they don't want the traditional. Traditional mean they got to work. Tradition means they got responsibility. Tradition means that they got to learn how to change a tire. They got to know how to check the oil when the engine is off and check the transmission fluid when the engine is warm. They don't even want to figure that out. And so if you leave it up to them, man, these modern gender dynamics is fine with me. I ain't got to learn all this shit. We ain't got my wife, she can do that now. She can figure it out. It's traditional roles is attractive to a guy like me. So I don't like the modern dynamics. I like roles. I like being the man of the house, and I like being responsible and being the agent of due process. And I like it when everything goes good. I could give it to whoever I wanted to, the props. And when everything goes bad, it's all my fault. I don't mind taking all the arrows on my back for anything that goes wrong in this household. So I like the traditional stuff, and this modern stuff is not really there for me. But I think, as Darwin said, a lot of these guys is like, man, shit, I need to. I don't want to learn nothing new. I don't want to figure nothing out. I don't want to mow no lawns. I don't want to fix no leaky pipes. I don't want to figure out nothing. But all I want to know is how to play 2K and chill and change the channel on Netflix.
Powerful. And I want to say, comment before you anybody answer, I want to just say, Viz, I'm the same way. That's very powerful to recognize that statistics and how disenfranchised a group is, and still find a side of yourself to build a mentality to not associate yourself with the statistics or not let that be the overwhelming influence on your decisions. Like if somebody say, hey, look, if you go outside, chances are it's a 60% chance you're gonna fucking fall in the quicksand. No, I'm going. I'm gonna figure out a way to get around that shit because this is what I want. And I think if every man moved like this, if it's what you want, man, you have the power to be able to deviate from what's going on. What's going on for the most part. You have the power to be able to do that, but you have to do it up here first. And I think that's what the point Viz was saying about statistics and not allowing statistics to have any influence on your decisions, especially if you want a specific outcome.
He got his ass cooked. He got cooked.
So wait, so the man can't talk for himself. He said what he said. If you were paying attention, You heard what he said. If you get emotions out of it, you went to the numbers. The very thing that you said, F. If you can't take your emotions out of it and just look at it logically, I know I touched him because I seen his face change. You understand? It's all right that you went through the numbers, but pay attention to the key points. I said you found your forever. Stop being so emotional. Leave it for me. You're not built like that. Your hair is long. Put the scrunchie.
God damn. Well, shout out to the boy. Y'all better not fuck with my dog.
I want to apologize on behalf of Kenny.
Oh man,
I think I've dealt with guys like him in consultations with who I've managed to get in consultations and they have the same position. Like it's a bad deal for a man. But I think if you actually have a conversation with me one day, Kenny, man, I might be able to show you a different perspective. You might
What
be
you
able
gonna
to
have on your mom jeans? You gonna talk to me? Get my life right? Huh?
I mean, I'll whatever it takes to be able to get the outcomes you want. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to listen and help you at the best of my ability.
Well,
you could call it whatever.
Yeah, before y'all go down this road again, let me answer the question, Dan, because I'm gonna get ready to tap out here shortly because I'm old and I can't hang all night with you young cats. So with that being said, do modern generation dynamics make traditional marriage unattractive for men? I agree with what Shane said. A lot of these young cats, they okay with it. They okay with the 50-50 setup. They okay not having to do the masculine thing. They don't want to accept the responsibility of taking all the blame. They right, oh, but shit, it's her fault. No. That's just how they built now. I believe in gender roles. My wife earlier today, I said, okay, we gonna get to folding these clothes. She said, you gonna help me? I said, no, that's not my role. You see that yards cut, that's my role. When I took that trash out to the curb, that's my role. No, I don't do nothing in the house. That's your job. She accepted that. Why? Because we already talked about that. I believe in hierarchy. I believe in gender roles. There's nothing wrong with that, fellas. There's nothing wrong with being a man and standing up for what you believe in. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't let these old modern day soft ass dudes with long hair like this change your thought and your mind process. Be a goddamn man. Stand up to P. Don't you sit down. You fall for that shit, she gonna have you fall for every goddamn thing. She gonna have your ass slaving in the goddamn kitchen after you to put in 12 to 16 hours after work. Bullshit. You let them know what your standards is and you stick to it. Stick to it. Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. You're better than that, fellas. I'll leave it there. Viz, I'm just fucking with you, dog.
Yeah, I think it is unattractive for men. Sharon pretty much nailed it. It's not much. He didn't leave much meat on the bone at that point. It's like why? Like they got it easy right now. It's easier. You don't really have to be a man. That's the problem. It's a lot easier to have women working, bringing things to the table. And it's understood that the economy right now, by design, is geared towards dual incomes, dual income households. So so I understand on that aspect. But men, I've seen a lot of men that just don't know how to do things that you would think would be easy. I take the time out to teach my son. Anytime I will pop my hood. I'm a car guy, last name car. He gonna know how to break something down. I have dropped transmissions. I have installed turbos. I have tuned my cars electronically. You know what I mean? I have thrown up some drywall. I know how to paint. When I put furniture together, I grab him. Like, yo, this is what we gonna do. We about to, you take the screwdriver, you put that in. This is how you do that. Read these instructions and see what's the next step. You tell me and we'll follow it. It's important. And a lot of young men weren't afforded that opportunity. Not to mention they were ill-advised and ill-informed on just how to be men. And that's why I try to mentor as many young men, up and coming teenagers, whatever, as I can. Pull quotes whenever I could, offer advice, whatever it is, whatever I might be more knowledgeable about, then I try to spread that wisdom for others to absorb, or at least point them in the right direction so they could get their own start. But because I realize how bad it is, and I don't think that men just didn't want to do anything, they just don't know how. And part of that problem is your mom isn't able to teach you how to be a man. And with so many of us coming up under single parent households, we just aren't equipped the same anymore. That was not the case. Fortunately for me, I had both parents to show me the way, and I saw what work ethic looks like and all that. And it wasn't even necessary. It was traditional to a certain extent, but my mom worked like a slave for real to the death of her. Like, so I understand um how that can go, and it worked. It worked, but right now these men ain't really trying to hear that. I did want to kind of talk about where Kenny's at with it. And I think a lot of it is based on our experiences, what our perspective is. And I feel like a lot of us lack perspective. So even though I feel like I'm in a successful relationship, I say that enough. I want to let people know that I still understand the perspective, because I talk to enough young men who are trying really hard out here to understand how to get women. And you can go into a situation in good faith, do everything right, and then still get done dirty. A lot of these women see you out here as a lick. And to me, it seems like it's more so than not. And I would challenge some of you men just to think that are in successful relationships. And I'm happy you were fortunate enough to do that. But it's a different era right now. I just want you to think about how it would be right now trying to obtain some of these younger women out here. It ain't no joke, because the expectations are ridiculous. The respect level is in the basement. They don't give a damn about you. It's tough. It's a diamond in the rough. And even when you guys were dealing with that, you were fortunate enough to find a woman and you locked her down because you realized she was unique, like she was already a rarity. So we're not all going to be that fortunate, and a lot of us don't have the game to go ahead and get these women. And that's not of their own fault. They just were never taught that. And it's not a gift that each one of us have. Not all of us have the gift of gab. Not all of us got that pizzazz, those things that would attract women. And even though you may be doing everything that people tell you to do, charisma is something that is extremely difficult to obtain. If you're not born with that and you don't come from that type of crowd, then it's going to be very difficult for you to get out here and navigate in the dating world. When you look at some of these dudes, I've seen profiles for men and women, and it's a different world. Women have a lot of picks, and they eliminate dudes for frivolous reasons and don't even take the time to get to know you. You might be her best choice out of there that would treat her the best, but you're not the one that the algorithm pushed. Just like they don't push the best information out here, they don't push the best dudes neither. They push the dudes that they know will get the clicks because they're trying to get to the money. The shareholders involved. So we just gotta consider perspective when we talk about these things,
Can I ask you a
because
question,
there's another
Trav?
side to that. Sure, you may.
What if I'm able to figure out a way to navigate all of the challenges or the most common challenges men struggle with in getting relationships, and actually have a proven track record of helping them get there, and I have my own numbers, my own sample sizes to back that up? Why would I still look at the statistics somebody else did on their sample size and it supersede the work that I've done on my own, whenever I've created the benefit and the luxury of being able to get out there and do the work myself and lean on that?
Because you're a narcissist. Because if you only use your track record to gauge on a whole how everything should be, that means you drinking your own juice.
So
You
what
have to
if
weigh
that say
other
about
dynamics. You have to
what if
weigh
that say
other
about the other
dynamics.
guy?
You are
What if
not. Wait. When you turn water into wine, then I believe that no other word can question yours.
No, what I'm
Until
saying
then,
is,
you
what
should
does
be
that say?
humble
What does
enough.
that say
Hold
about the
on.
other guys who
Hold
upload their
on.
statistics
Hold
to the
on.
agencies? Are they
Hold
narcissists?
on.
'Cause they
Allow
didn't
me,
consider
because you
my
said
pool
if
of data either.
okay, tell me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay, so that's good. Did you tell me that you went by your stats and your stats alone? So your proven track record.
No, I didn't go by my stats alone.
Okay, so
I
am I in Pizarro land that you said,
let me
why should I
rephrase it
listen
for you.
to anything else? And I have my own stats because I sat back and listened. That
Let me
means you
paint the
drinking
picture
your
for you
own
again, brother.
juice.
Because
Okay.
what you're trying to do is you're trying to
Okay, good, bad, or indifferent. Did I error in hearing him not say that?
Well, I think you in a hurry, and I think you really need to understand the full weight of what I'm trying to say.
I did, because you try to sound more profound than you are. Sometimes, it's tolerable.
So if
But
that's what
sometimes
you
it's like eating pig feet.
focus on, it lets me know you didn't understand what I said. If
No, I
if you
actually
worried
did.
about how
I
profound
let
I
you
sound,
stop.
I will take it as a compliment.
I let you stop. It's not a compliment. It's your own hubris that you believe that your model of work, though respected, is the end all to be all. And I just challenge that.
Okay, so let me tell you why I did it, and then you can challenge me. The reason why I did that. Okay, so I saw a world where men and women were struggling to get the outcomes they wanted. And I got tired of it. So I inserted myself in a space and I said, let me see if I can make a change and make a difference. Can I take the experiences I've had and the experiences that were shared with me and figure out how to solve problems and see if that can make a difference? And then whenever it happened, I was like, okay, well, let me collect data on this. Let me keep track of this. Let me be a creator. Let me share it with the world so people can have the education. And what turns out is that people are able to get past those nuances, those challenges that were recorded by other experts that recorded these statistics. So what am I supposed to do? Say, well, they are bigger than me. They're a bigger agency than me. So I would just lean on that. Or should I just come into the space and say, look, I understand the shit you looking at that's public data, but I have data on my own, and I have a way. I have things I've discovered on my own, and these are working. And there's people who have testimony behind it. So wouldn't it be wise of me to lean on that than to just deviate from all the hard work I did and put into it and asserted myself and say, well, fuck it, the CDC or whatever supersedes me because they're a federal agency. Fuck them. They didn't consider hold on, wait. They didn't consider none of the work I did, so that makes them a narcissist too. They didn't say, I don't have access to the selection process of who they chose to record data. I don't know that these men that they selected were aware of the red flags and the traps that comes into relationships, how well aware, how well educated. I don't know if that was part of the selection process to even record these statistical data to determine whether marriages are the reason why marriages fail and the reason why these guys are afraid of marriage. That's not enough for me to go off of, because I'm willing to argue that if you had a pool of men like brothers like me and you, and the rest of the guys on this panel, and they were recording data behind us, they would get totally different numbers because of our level of awareness and our intellect and how well knowledgeable we are in this space when it comes to dating and relationships. So who knows? They could have been picking up guys off of the streets to say, "Hey, look, take this survey." They don't know who these people are. So I think it's very dangerous to lean on statistics in that fashion.
You know what you did? You went off the point where you were off, and then you refixed it. Then in closing, you said not to trust the statistical data from reputable sources as for making a tangible verdict on things. You originally started, because I made sure I zoned in. I shut everything off. You made it about you. And I said, if your hubris is that you're a narcissist, and you should be able to compile other informations because your information is valid. Because how I know your information is valid, I've also liked and also said good job to you when you got in your nice little suit and you went up there and you read off a couple paragraphs that made sense. Did I not?
Sure.
Okay, that's hard for you to say, isn't it? So
No,
now
I said sure.
I take what you say. I take what Jordan Peterson says. I take what Ayanna Van Zandt says. I take what Dr. Francis Cress Wilson says. I take what Dr. John Henry Clark says, and I compile all these information. As for me moving progressively and using nuances, as for me becoming a better man, me getting an understanding and, evolving as a person, am I discrediting them, or am I taking what you learned and also applying it to the collective so that I can move progressively forward with the right information that suits me?
Let me just say this real quick.
Hold on. We can get to this on the back end. Let me just go ahead and close out with this last question with a solution. What can be done to remove the fear of marriage among men? And how can we encourage more men to view marriage as a positive step?
Associate yourself with a circle of
so.
men who show the results that you want to achieve, and ask them, how the hell do I do it? And if they can give you a proven method and proven ways, you put those methods in action and you attempt to do that. Just like Kenny, if you see brothers on the panel that's married and we're telling you that there's a way we can do it, and we figured it out, ask us what's the fucking code. There's a cheat code for you.
I don't
It's
have
you.
to. I don't have to.
Okay.
This is what we should do, bro. Look, this is something I wrote down earlier. We should start premarital boot camp for brothers that want to propose. They could do classes on prenups. You know what I'm saying? Like things you look for. Like real talk. Really start driving individuals that want to go that way, or individuals that feel like they don't have success with women and they don't see a path. We might be able to give you a path. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe able to show you, hey, it ain't as bad as they tell you it is. And you trying to build a family, I think is the only way and the best way to do it. Legacy.
It's important for us to keep in mind, especially as men, it's important for us to keep in mind that you must seek knowledge. If you are set in your ways, if you don't have any desire to learn anything else, then there's nothing that anybody can do. Period. There are numerous platforms that gives you the very information that we're talking about on both sides. So it is imperative for you as a grown ass man that may potentially want a family to continue your legacy, to live on forever, to search, to seek some wisdom that is going to appeal to you living the type of life that you want to live, because it is possible. Anything is possible. All things are possible. So if you seek that knowledge, then you can absolutely find it. What can be done to remove the fear of young men, of marriage for young men? Be around married men. Be around good, successful married men and see what they do, how they act. Because you can get the girl, it's easy to get the girl, but to keep her, that's where the work comes in, because you have to constantly do that every day. One thing that they say at whenever I work a wedding, men to get up and say, man, make sure y'all keep dating each other. Make sure you choose each other every day. That's work. So if you're willing to put in that work, then do it. If not, then don't. Whatever side you choose to be on, hey, plant your flag there, stand there, 10 toes strong. But that's up to you. Don't allow for someone else to influence the decisions that you make in life.
You want to say something, Lloyd?
Yeah, I concur. Just get around happily married, man. That's really the only way. And it's got to be something you want to do. If you don't want to do it, then it don't matter. It don't matter at all. Like you can't want something for somebody else that don't want that thing. It's pointless to really like push that on them. Whether it be to go to be an architect, or you know what I'm saying, to be a gymnast. If they don't want it, they don't want it. Leave it alone. It's a dead issue. It's a dead issue. Right.
I can understand that if you communicating that you don't want it. But then when you communicating that it's a bad idea, that's two different things. Whenever we able to transform it and say, it's actually, we figured out how to make it a good idea. You know what I'm saying? But all you do is hang around passport bros. You hang around single men that want to go and get their rocks off every weekend. You're really gonna find it really hard and difficult to try to accomplish the outcomes you want. So I would say I would triple down on it. That hanging around men that you are inspired by, the outcomes that you're inspired by is key. It is key, brother. You just got to do it, man. And the more you hanging
So
around
men
those
that are
guys,
not married, you can't learn prolific things from.
men that are not married,
That's the
prolific
question I
things.
offer
I think
you.
you talking in general now. You're not really talking about specifically what we're talking about. So when you say prolific things, I would say, yeah, you can learn prolific things from. But if you want to learn about marriage, if you want to learn how to operate in a marriage, how to vet, and you hang around men who operate in marriage and they knew how to properly vet. So I wouldn't tell you to go hang around a plumber to go learn how to install TVs and shit. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Kenny. You got boots on the ground. You know better than that.
And I know that, you know, once you get that poetic stuff out the way, how we started, it's a bad deal. It's bad contracts. How many states that a woman is entitled to what you built in just a couple of months. We went over the Portia thing. We went over many other women. We went out the women that even thought they could, what it says, do the Ebony K way. They think they could be dominant over men until they finally see their results and they don't have it. You understand? I'm not saying marriage is a bad thing. I'm just saying when you speak a certain thing, be held to the stats. The stats ain't lying. That's factual. And if you think that's a deterrent, that's just a warning for people to vet better. But you want to take it as a damnation on you jumping the broom with somebody. That means you're very emotional, not getting to the logic of it. You have to be able to vet somebody. How many times have we went back and forth regarding men of wealth and discernment, if they could find the right woman at that stage in their life when they have it all, and these women are trained like heat-seeking missiles to come take it all from you, and they can play the game. Does that benefit you? You was one up there fighting that cause, talking about men can see that. I remember that whole discussion. And I said, women will cut through you like a knife. How many basketball players and sports figures we done seen that happen to? Thank God that one soccer player put everything in his mama name. When she came to get everything, oops, nah, you leave with your shoes. That's it. So if you take me saying what I say is a damnation on marriage, that means you're not paying attention with all that knowledge you have. It's just a warning. Tread lightly. When I say you found forever, that's me giving you props because you know how hard that is. But watch what, you're still butthurt because I said you had to go through the stats to find it, like most men do. What is wrong with me saying that you have to fall forward a lot and bump your heads before you find that one that works for you? That one that you can open up and trust, because most men can't show their emotions and open up their heart, or they get torn apart, cut by 1,000 razor blades. Me giving you the warning and then having people piggyback, not listening to the message because they don't like the pastor. Call me Daddy Rich, but take the message. Be careful. Stop getting in your feelings. Unbutton one. When you look it back after you have your glass of brown and you be like, I don't really like Kenny, but let me listen to the word. Be careful. Tread lightly. Protect yourself. What's wrong with that?
That's literally what I said.
No, that's not what you said. That's what I said.
I literally said that I was only going to do it one time.
You have a bad problem of piggybacking. You have a bad problem of piggybacking on things, saying I 100% agree, and then you do something else. That's your signature move. That's why I always butt heads with you.
Well, yeah, no, it's just that
Or
I didn't go through a bunch of women in order to find it. So
Okay, so
that's the only reason why I give pushback if that's what your reasoning for it is. But I get it. Let's just move on to the next topic.
Well, we ain't got no more topics.
And the next topic.
We're gonna go ahead and close out, man. Marriage has its risks, but so does staying alone. The question remains: is fear stopping men from achieving something greater, or are these concerns valid in today's world? That's King Talk, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Way out. Appreciate you guys' perspectives, and we are out.